Welcome to our 9905 MPX webinar. My name is Cris Garcia and I will be your presenter today. The information being presented today will be specific to this product discussion, but will also be a good source of reference in relation to video processing, 3D LUT, audio signal management, and much more. If you have any questions, please hang on to them until the end of the presentation. With this brief intro out of the way, let's get into the main discussion, which is our new 9905 MPX and its awesome performance that delivers just unmatched performance overall. This block diagram that we're looking at clearly illustrates a very unique set of features and platform configuration in a single, highly dense processing tool that easily tackles production environments that require multi-channel and multi-processing. 9905 is Cobalt's next generation advanced scalar frame synchronizer for the OpenGear platform. It also provides 4 independent signal paths of UDX, frame sync, audio embedding, and de-embedding on a single OpenGear card. Using our HPF 9000 frame, this provides up to 24 channels of processing in a single frame, configured as 6 OpenGear cards. Essentially, 9905 represents a new level of OpenGear package density that is just clearly unmatched. This provides high density that offers unprecedented multi-input support and flexibility, as you can see with this block diagram's illustration of the inputs and the outputs and all the options that you have. Independent up-down cross-converting scalars are specifically designed for broadcast video formats with full ARC control, suitable for conversions to or from 4:3 and 16:9 aspect ratios. Discrete AES and MADI audio embedding, routing, mixing, de-embedding to any of the 4 processing paths is supported by default, so no license required here. A standard 3D LUT feature and available color correction license provides an accommodation of SDR and HDR processing for downstream HDR systems. Card control and monitoring is available through dashboard, user interface, or Cobalt's RESTful-based reflex protocol. Today we will look at how easily a user can configure any function with dashboard for each of its 4 processing paths. A very unique flexible option that was engineered into the 9905 was to be able to software upgrade to a 4K quad-link input SDM2SI 4K UDX frame sync card with an optional software license. So now let's look at what else we offer with this card. As this chart describes, this is a very powerful embedding de-embedding platform. So in relation to audio, let's look at what else is available in this platform. Here we can process bulk embedding from AES and bulk embedding from MADI. So these controls allow you to do that. This we think is a pretty big deal. If most people don't think so, then they must be thinking of something completely different than audio, because this is a big deal for us. The 8 AES input pairs or 16 channels can be embedded to any or all of the 4 video paths. In addition, you can embed the same audio onto 4 different camera feeds, which is pretty cool if you ask those complex productions that always look for different ways to embed, route, and configure their audio channels. So similar to AES, MADI can be embedded onto any or all of the 4 video paths. However, with the 64 channels of MADI, this now provides the ability to embed unique audio configurations onto 4 different video paths, which is, again, with these controls that we see on the screen, now you have a lot of controllability, monitoring, and just different use configurations. So some unique use cases, for example, are large numbers of audio channels that need to be processed as 5.1, 7.1, or the new Dolby Atmos. As the needs for higher audio channel count and more complex audio mapping requirements are the norm, this platform can easily address all of those requirements. So you don't need to look anywhere else. It's all within this card. In addition, you can embed audio from one video input onto one or all of the other available video outputs. So this is very flexible again, and this is very, very unique. A cool feature of this platform is that users can configure bulk embedding from AES with up or down conversion processing at the same time. Now, talk about horsepower. This can really make that happen without even, blinking. So this is a very powerful system. Given that each path is completely independent from each other, you can easily configure a variety of conversions and processing while embedding or de-embedding from or to AES or MADI. So for example, you can set up one to be a 1080p, another 720p or 1080i, and 5, whatever the case may be, you can set this to be an embedder, de-embedder, up-down cross converter with multiple paths at the same time. So for the de-embedding side, it basically takes care of the same, but it's the opposite of embedding. So it's just de-embedding. So now with the 9905, you have a lot of audio resources to help you achieve your most complex audio mapping requirements, monitoring, processing, all with a unique centralized control interface. And if you like, let's take a look at exactly what that looks like inside of dashboard. So here in my Audit Controls, I will clearly see that, on the left, I have my input sources. So because this is a 4-channel card, I have 4 unique and distinctive formats that are coming into the card. I also have, so because the audios are embedded, the reference here will be that I need to also look at my audio input to look at how many channels and what's actually present in the SDI stream. And as you can see, because I have no MADI coming into this car at the moment, I have no audio through the MADI as locked, and therefore dashboard is going to flag this as a red icon because there is no audio on the MADI input. Now, similar to what I just showed you on the presentation slide, here's my different controls for the audio. So what I just mentioned about being able to embed and de-embed, I have full control of each individual path, and depending on whatever path I select, I will have different controls, and I will also have different metering. As you can see here, maybe it's a little too small for you to see, but for example, for path 1, I have a pair. I have channel 1 and 2 that's on audio bus 1 and 2 here. So if I wanted to, I can take those and I can repurpose them. So I can create a mix. And again, the mix will also be defined per path, and I can select multiple configurations and save those once I'm done configuring this as a preset. And the way we do that is by saving here. I can select, I can also download, and be able to recall them at a later time. But this is where I basically control all my input audio sources, and then on the output I can define exactly what is it that I want to do. Now in this case, we're looking at our meters a little bigger than the on the input side, but this is where I can define exactly where I want those audios to go, which way I want them to go. I can reroute my SDI embedded sources but I can also work with AES on the output, including MADI. So if you have all those 64 channels that you want to send out to a console, this is where you go down to the MADI and you create that configuration. And again, that would also apply for a down mix and also the different mix configurations that you want to send out on the way out. So now let's get back to our presentation and let's continue on to what's next in the next coming slides. So again, as I just described, basically with the audio embedding and de-embedding, we have all the controls as I just shown you guys within dashboard. So you have everything that's needed for controlling the input and output audios here using dashboard. So you have full routing capability. Everything's in real time, so all the metering, all the monitoring status, all that is in real time, as you just saw right now in dashboard. And I can essentially have very, very, very specific unique controls for any of those input sources or output sources. So again, it's a very powerful tool for embedding and de-embedding. And again, as I just showed you in the dashboard, we have a lot of capability utilizing that flex mixer, the flex controls. So this platform can further be used to manage and configure different types of audio mixes. Again, I just showed you guys what that looks like inside of dashboard. It can create up to, for example, 16 custom mixes that can be saved as a preset in the local memory bank, which is what I just showed you dashboard. It can use any combination of audio sources. So if we identified the embedded AES and MADI, I can use any of that to be able to configure new mixes, routing those channels, or muxing any of those audio channels as well. Through the gain adjustments, users can increase or decrease the volume of each audio source. So again, you have full control of that. This diagram that I'm showing you essentially illustrates an example of the types of custom mixes users can create with the available audio engine. And again, if you're doing a down mix, that would be the same. For the down mixer and all the controls will be available within dashboard. Now, looking at MADI, in this example, we are highlighting the flexibility to utilize inbound embedded audios and external AES audio as embedding sources for MADI. This illustrates the ease of use and adaptation of conventional embedded SDI and AES audio sources onto a production switcher using MADI as a perfect gateway. So essentially, we're using the 9905 MPX as the perfect gateway to connect to a console that's looking for MADI sources. And in some cases, people are using it this way. And I've seen cases where production, or I should say remote production, uses a similar card to this to be able to route and process different MADI channels to and from production trucks or consoles that are installed inside of the production venue. So I mean, this is a very valuable and a tool that should be in every live or remote production environments. So now looking at the frame sync aspect of this card, this platform has the ability to provide a valid SAV and EAV code, so that if, let's just say, when you have a loss of signal, this card can continue to provide sync to the downstream devices. So if we look at dashboard, we will see exactly the type of controls that we have. So let's go to dashboard and take a look. So now, similar to the audio, FrameSync has a dedicated tab for controlling that. For example, here We have, 4 again. You're gonna see the same, representation of those input channels as separate video paths here. So we have path 1, path 2, 3, and 4. So for each of those, I can individually and separately configure my frame sync. So whatever it is that I want to do, I can easily just come in here and select that. And if you see here, the output mode is basically, I can select exactly what I want. So if I don't want video on the output, I can just select one of the other options here. In addition, I can choose to log to whatever reference I have available, or I can do a free run, or log to something else in case you don't have a specific reference point for the frame sync. And again, I can also choose to bypass, or I can fully enable. And if you do the enable, obviously you'll be able to generate from the card. If you choose to bypass, it'll just basically depend on the external input source to provide the frame sync. So again, similar to the other functions of the card, this has the ability to have its own its own controls, and it's not just for the whole card, but it's for individual input paths, and you can fully customize. Plus, you're also at the same time monitoring the status on the bottom, so you can see exactly what's locked and what's not, and if you see any errors. So that is a very unique solution and feature set that's provided within this card. So now let's go back to the presentation. So now for format conversion, this has a very unique. It's got a key function of this card is the ability to provide a unique up-down cross conversion environment where you can basically almost do anything from and to. So as you can see here, we have a long list of conversion options to fit any requirement. If you see that drop down, it's essentially it's a full list of different options that you have. While converting, you have full aspect ratio control, noise and sharpness control, and its powerful automatic format selection tab. So again, this tab has all those different built-in controls that allows you to make the selection. Now let's go back into dashboard and let's look at exactly how that works, because this is a pretty big deal. So the way we get to that format conversion is by going to the scaler tab. Now this, as we just saw here on the left, we have all those different input sources, right? So for all those different input sources, so basically SDI1 that is identified by path 1, and then so on for the other paths as well. So I can choose to let the path stay the same, but I just maybe want to mess around with the audios. Then I can just leave the input to match the input, right? Or the output to match the input. In this case, let's just say if I wanted to select any of the other formats, I can easily select to convert that input source. In this case, this is a 1080i. I can select and choose to convert that to something else. So I have all these different options that I can convert to. In that case, I have this flexibility where let's just say someone at the last minute says, hey, I would rather have on the output a 720, 480, or whatever the case may be. This allows you to do that. And again, what I just mentioned with the audio embedding, de-embedding, this process of converting up-down cross conversion will allow you to convert while it's also embedding or de-embedding and processing your audios. So this is a very unique tool. And then as what I mentioned, you have full control of all your different parameters, enhancements. You can also reduce the noise level on the signal. I mean, this is a very powerful tool for doing that. And you're not just doing it for the whole function, but you're doing it specifically per path. So this has that flexibility, and this is, what we really call, getting a lot of bang for your buck. So now let's get back to our presentation so we can keep talking about other cool features. So now one very unique thing about this card is that now we offer also logo insertion generation from within the card. This is something that we can work with, and you can basically utilize it to your best interest. As an example, you can overlay up to 4 unique graphics on any or all of the 4 video paths. This could be used for example, for GPI driven top of the hour kind of station ID graphics overlay, if that's what the requirement is. You can store up to 32 graphic images on the single card. So every card has an onboard micro SD card that allows you to store multiple files and be able to access them as graphics on the output. So each video path can overlay up to 4 different graphic images, or for those the same, it could be the same graphic image at the same time. So again, as it's repeating itself, this is the amazing power and flexibility that is just clearly unmatched if you compare it to other devices out there. Now, moving on to 3D LUT processing. This platform provides 3D lookup table, so you can convert from, let's say, 10-bit SDR values to values appropriate for HDR downstream devices and displays. All paths use the same UI and have identical and independent controls. For example, for dynamic range controls or dynamic external controls, 9905 acquires LUTs from external systems such as LiveGrade and WonderLook. The control from the external LUT system communicates to the card through Ethernet. So if you have, in most cases, the DIT engineer has a system externally that's connected to the card. It connects directly to the backplane of the card, and through that backplane, it dynamically makes the changes within the LiveGrade or WonderLook software, and those changes are reflected on the output. So whatever you set on the LiveGrade or WonderLook, it basically gets passed down to the card, and then the card creates those changes dynamically, as stated, dynamically. So on the output, the DIT technician can see those changes and also be able to present to the director exactly what they're seeing. So this is a very big deal because in the past, maybe we just had a one-channel 3D LUT card. Now in this case, again, as we've been seeing here, now you can multiply that by 4, and now we have 4 unique possibilities of being able to process different LUTs. And again, utilizing the external tools like LiveGrade and WonderLook to enable that sort of LUT or the Q file generation with the card. So this is a very unique configuration and flexibility that's offered within this card. Now, as with the 3D LUT, we are going to be putting more emphasis into the other aspects of what this card can do. For example, this has a very unique BBC LUT engine that allows us also to continue to provide additional LUT management and flexibility. In the case of working with BBC LUTs, users can easily choose from over 50 options that are stored inside of the card. As you can see here, we have a drop-down menu that allows users to select whatever they like. But let's take a look in dashboard to see what that looks like, because obviously you see here that you do have selections, but let's take a look in dashboard to see how that looks. So again, as I've just mentioned in the other slides and the other tabs, we continue with the same, being able to select each path to allow me to select whatever 3D LUT processing requirement I need to work on. As we just looked at, for example, for the 3D LUT, I can select dynamic 3D LUT external control, and that would mean that I need to talk to one of these other, like the Live Grade and the WonderLug, to be able to output those different LUTs. User LUTs, that's if you have a file that you want to work with. This is where you would basically store those different, you can create, you can store, generate, and create those different LUTs through this selection. And then, as we were just discussing the BBC LUTs, if I select the BBC LUTs, I then now select this drop-down menu that allows me to select different options, of LUT, management, generation. So again, it's a very powerful tool that allows me to have a lot of control, a lot of flexibility. And again, all these controls that I just mentioned, being able to bypass, use an external control, establish user LUTs, so yourself, or being able to use the BBC LUTs can be done per path. So the only difference is that you will need to define this within dashboard and just work with whatever it's available to you. But it's essentially it's a very powerful tool that allows you to manage that, and that's why in this platform we offer this as a default or standard feature, and the license is not required. However, the only license that is required in this case is that you will need to activate the BBC LUT license if you want to have this selection. And then also the other license that you may want to consider is if you're working on set with live productions, is that you may need to license Live Grid or I believe WonderLug. I don't know if there's a license, or you can just get it for free as long as you're using one of the devices. But you will need to have that in order for you to connect and dynamically control the card from an external source, in this case from Live Grid or the WonderLug. So now let's get back to our presentation to continue on with other slides. So in this slide, what we're looking at is how this particular card has the ability to be able to offer like a QC output through HDMI. So for example, this is 100% standard. So if you have this card, you're going to get an HDMI output with full control. And some of the parameters that you can control on the HDMI output are being able to manage your color space, change from 709 or 2020, your bit depth, legal or full range, HDR info frames, OETF, the colors, the minimum, maximum luminance, the CLL, and the fall, and any other things are fully controlled by this, or through the card, and there is no additional cost. And just to give you guys a quick glimpse of that, let's take a look again in dashboard to see how that looks. And for selecting that, we will need to go to the video output. So again, I have all my controls here for SDI, but I also have a dedicated tab for HDMI. So within this dedicated tab, as you can see, all these different parameters I can easily just change and configure depending on what the requirements is for the output. So again, you may see some appliances or devices out there that have control, but strictly just for SDI. In this case, we have controls for both SDI and also HDMI, which is what we're seeing here in this case. So let's get back to the presentation. And now moving on to color correction, as is also related to 3D LUT. As a color correction platform, 9905 continues on the tradition of the previous color correction models. So this again functions, and it allows you to have a color corrector that controls individual RGB channels associated for each program video path, which is a very unique and powerful feature. For each path, separate controls of red, green, and blue channels are available. So key functions are RGB color correction, color limiting, and also color saturation adjustment. This is a pretty big deal, and this car has no problems or hiccups doing that. So having real-time controls of all your color values with the turn of a knob or slider is a standard offering within this platform, and it's not an extra cost feature. So you can easily rest assured that this product has all the controls and all the bells and whistles to allow you to do that. Now again, let's go back and look at dashboard, because we have those dedicated controls and a dedicated space for doing that. And again, just like every other function, this will apply those same controls, and any changes you apply to the color corrector engine block, it'll be applied per path, and it will allow you to have full control depending on what is it that you want to do. Now we have the basic video proc here, the color proc, that has controls for your luma, gain, lift, color gain, color phase, the luma and color gain as a set, as a gang. And you can also, if you have the color correction license, now you have a lot more controls that are available for you to quickly make adjustments on the output. As I said, in case there's any issues with your POV camera, if there's, if someone forgot to match monitors or whatever, you can easily, do all this and make all those changes happen. Again, but the color correction option, this is an option. So you, or anybody that wants to use this feature will need to still pay for this license, as it's not an included, function or feature within the card. So moving on to more use cases for color correction, we've basically seen how users have been using this card on set for different use cases. Some that we quickly identified are, as an example, POV camera adjustment. Let's just say there is no CCU system nearby, so you can make compensating changes for the lack of no CCU. You can also make adjustments for any poor image quality if that's the problem with your output. You can also match outputs to compensate for no monitor calibration, as I just mentioned, and the list it's on and on. There's so many other use cases that could really help, to give you controls through the card. But this product has a lot of functionality and a lot of power that oftentimes is just not identified. And people think, oh, it's just an open gear car, but it's an open gear car. And I want to say that it's not just a basic open gear car. It's really an open gear car that's really on steroids. It has a lot of power, a lot of potential. And again, we just released this car in the middle of the pandemic, and we see a lot of other use cases for this, and we know that it's going to keep growing, it's going to keep expanding. And if you're investing and if you're getting on board with this product, you're surely going to have a lot of benefit, and it's really going to give you a lot of bang for your money. So it's really a great tool to have. It's a great platform that can be a multi-purpose tool for anything that you need to do related to audio, video, and enhancing your overall quality. So again, I would strongly recommend for anyone looking to use a system like this to look at this 9905 MPX, because this is an evolution of all the other great products that we have at Cobalt, and it brings the best of all those other platforms and kind of puts it all together in one package to give you this very flexible, very dense platform that nobody else, I think, in my opinion, has today in the market, that can process video in real time. That's still baseband. It's not software based tool. Still gives you a lot of functionality. So now let's look at other products before we end this presentation. I want to give a quick mention, and I want to showcase a few other products that we have introduced into the market last year, and then we continue to promote them today. And these products are, for those of you that may or may not know, OpenGear is really it's a platform that is strongly advocated by Ross and Cobalt for the most part. But you also have other players that are out there, other manufacturers that are also part of the OpenGear family. But for the most part, Cobalt and Ross are the leaders in this space. And as a leader, Cobalt designed this cool new product, which we call the BBG 1300 FR. What this is essentially an OpenGear frame. It's just in a smaller footprint, and this is sort of ideal for many portable, remote sort of applications that don't necessarily have space for the bigger traditional OpenGear frame. So this has, as we see here, it has redundant power, supports full SNMP. It has an onboard networking capability function. It has full control of dashboard through a connection of the gigabit port. You also have front panel controls, so if you don't want to use dashboard, you can easily just go to the front panel and start making adjustments controlling the card or the frame. You can rack mount this, so you can put 3 of these side by side in a 19-inch space rack. And again, it's just a 1RU height. And it has what is really interesting about this frame is that it has 2 internal slots that allow you to have either one traditional OpenGear card, or if you have a split rear module which Cobalt offers many of those, you can easily mount 2 cards in one backplane. So now you have more density in a small little package. So this is the BBG 1300. And if you guys are interested, please inquire. We have a lot of new information that keeps coming out, and if you need pricing, please contact one of the sales folks at Cobalt, and we'll be able to address that and help you with that, and even demo it if that's what the requirement is. Another great product that I also want to mention is this new 9915 DA platform. This is our latest 12G distribution platform for baseband SDI, but also has the ability to support fiber input in and out. It has 2 SFP cages that allows users to install fiber input or output modules, or you can even combine a transceiver. So if you want a bidirectional sort of connectivity, this card allows you to do that. It can process formats anywhere from SD all the way through 12G, and depending on the configuration that you have with the fiber SFPs, you can utilize the internal cross points to allow you to route those signals. You can come in, for example, baseband, and you can come out fiber, or you can come in fiber and then come out baseband. So these are options that you have within this card. Plus, you have a lot of other great features in terms of being able to enhance the signal quality internally. Plus, this has great distance performance. So this is one thing that we've ensured with this product to give you that distance and just maintaining the quality. And again, this can easily be installed in that small little frame that I just mentioned, but ideally most of our customers are using it in the traditional OpenGear frame with multiple cards in a big system, as that 12G really gives a lot of people flexibility to do just about anything. Another great product that we've been started promoting a lot recently is it's a new product for us, and it's an N92 encoder platform. This has, again, the density similar to what we just talked about, the 9905, but this has 4 independent channels that you can easily configure as an MPEG-4, MPEG-2, or HEVC. Now, the HEVC, it's more of a premium license, so if you ever need to have HEVC, by default, you always need to have an AVC license or MPEG-4 license active before you can activate the HEVC. But what is very unique about this platform is that you have the ability to have, for example, 4 channels of MPEG-4 that are set up in different configurations. For example, similar to the 9905, you can have one to be a 720p, another to be a 1080i, another to be a 1080p, or whatever you want it to be, and then SD, and then having those all those channels encoded and then sent for, you can transport those over as you wish. This now has full support for RIST. If those of you guys that are not familiar with RIST, there is a RIST forum. If you guys need more information on that, it's called RIST.tv. So take a look at that website. RIST is one of our strong points. Our director or executive vice president of engineering, Dr. Ciro Noronha, is the RIST president, and he's also the chief designer for this product. So he's put a lot of emphasis in making sure that RIST performed as well as has been advertised. And he's always looking for ways to enhance and improve this platform. Now, recently we also, by popular demand and just people asking us to support this, we added SRT support, but that's just more to accommodate customers that are more so focused and trying to use SRT versus RIS. But the good thing is that now you have those two protocols that are in the same platform and can be easily used and configured on a needed basis. So that's a plus for this. And again, one other powerful aspect of this card is that we support up to 16 pairs of audio. So if you need special audio configuration, you can also do that within this card. And again, similar to the 9905, you can create different audio combinations per path. So depending on what the needs are, this platform can accommodate that. And it's just a very robust, very powerful open ear card that has ability to process signals from SD all the way through 4K. So again, this is a very unique platform that I think most of you should be looking at if you have requirements for transporting signals from and to different locations. Again, similar to the encoder card, we have a decoder card, but in this case, we only have 2 channels that are configured within the platform. So if that's what you need for decoding, this is a great tool. And again, similar to the encoder, this has all the same RIS, SRT, MPEG-4, HEVC, SD through 4K, multiple audio channels. This has it all, so you can easily activate, configure, license up anything to make your transport requirements a breeze. And this is, again, just all done in one open gear card that can be configured as a single or dual, and it can be multiple cards in one frame or in a standalone frame chassis, which is the BBG 1300. So again, take a look at this card. This is a great card that we've been just shipping a lot of these, a lot every month. We ship hundreds, and I think it is very likely that you'll come across many of these out there, especially since people are using a lot of these remote productions and environments today due to the pandemic. And I would suggest to take a look at this. There's more info on this online. But again, if you need more specific detailed info on this, please contact us, at Cobalt. We'll be glad to give you more feedback, more info on this product or any of the other products, and even set up a demo if that's a requirement. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for attending this webinar. We are going to be recording this, so if any of you have any specific questions or anything that you missed, please feel free to reach out to myself, or you can reach out to any of the other guys at Cobalt. If you need pricing information, or if you'd like to have a private demo for any of these products, please do reach out to us, and we would do our best to accommodate that. Again, thanks very much for attending, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.